first 2025 review of the year, and to say that I have been waiting for Grafted to come out all month is exactly what I've been doing. It's not even an understatement. It is exactly what I've been doing because this movie speaks to my soul. As a science girly and a body horror fan, of course I was going to watch Grafted. But if you don't know anything about Grafted from 2025, let me quickly fill you in. Grafted from 2025 is a body horror. Chinese scholarship student Wei travels to New Zealand to study medical research at a prestigious university. Hiding a genetic facial birthmark, Wei is shunned by her social butterfly cousin Angela and her friends. Determined to change her fate, Wei immerses herself in her late father's research, working on a revolutionary skin grafting procedure that could cure her deformity. As her experiments take a dark turn, she becomes more dangerous and more hinged, willing to eliminate anyone that threatens her secret. If you're new here, I go by Hordes, and if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, but as always, when it comes to watching movies that I have never seen before, I'm now going to go and watch Grafted off camera, so that way, if you too decide that you want to watch this medical body horror movie, nothing will be spoilt for you, because nobody wants to watch a movie that you've just watched somebody else watch from start to finish, and I keep it spoiler free here on my channel because nobody, and I mean nobody, likes spoilers.
You look amazing!
Medical science body horror is my favourite kind of body horror, and this gives me a massive sprinkle of American Mary mixed with just a hint of Reanimator, if it was told from the point of view of a protagonist who was driven by slightly different motives. And if you know me, you'll know in my world, both of those movies mixed together was never going to be a bad thing. The science in this movie is a mix of biology and botany, which is often seen in the worlds of cosmetic and pharmaceutical science, and it has been a hot minute since I got to do this, so sit down and get comfortable. It is time for a science lesson. Science. From what I can tell, Grafted has been inspired by human stem cell science. This is when human stem cells are grown in laboratory settings and they are transformed into human skin tissue. This tissue can then be transplanted to anywhere on someone's body, and they are often used for things like serious burns, diabetic ulcers, or even other serious wounds. This type of skin graft is great for somebody who isn't a candidate for a traditional skin graft. For example, they do not have enough skin to be able to use in a skin graft. They do not want to use a cadaver or another person's skin, or for something like religious reasons, they do not want to use skin from something like a pig, which often gets used as a human substitute. What Grafted does with this concept though that makes it different is how a graft is actually applied to someone, and that is the science that our main character Wei is looking into. Normally a graft would be applied with something like stitches or staples or even a special medical grade adhesive. Now that you know the actual science though behind this movie, hopefully the plot of it will be a lot easier to follow along for you, because yes, the science is very real behind this one.
The lesson is over.
I do like the plot of this one. It feeds the science girly in me, which is never going to be a bad thing. But I do feel like there is one character in this who is purely there to be filler. And unfortunately, I don't think that this character deserves the death that she gets in this, because she's there just so that she can be killed off at a later date, even though she really doesn't deserve it. And all the scenes that she has with Wei really do feel like filler, and they don't really add that much into the plot or into Wei's character or anything regarding the situation that is happening within the movie. Now, our teacher in this is where my Reanimator vibe comes into it, because this teacher is just another version of Dr. Carl Hill. He is incredibly self-centered, he is vile, he will do anything to gain, not even just credit, notoriety for himself within the science world wouldn't really be that far-fetched. And Wei feels very like Mary in the movie American Mary, because the worse that she is treated by people around her, the more unhinged and unstable she becomes. There is a part of this movie that talks about being born into a family that belongs to a specific culture, and then feeling at odds with that when you're surrounded by people who do not really identify with that specific culture. And the cousin in this, Angela, is the prime example. Angela is also born into a Chinese family, very much like Wei is. But Angela basically denies this part of her heritage, where to Wei, it is a very big part of her heritage, which leads to this, like, kind of culture shock moment for Wei, where she realizes that things are done incredibly differently in New Zealand compared to how they are done in China, which makes for a very interesting dynamic between these two characters, because could they have possibly got on? Yes, but are they going to get on because they deny this part of their heritage? No, because to one person it is such a big part of their identity, and to the other person they really couldn't care less. I have to bring up just how vile Angela the cousin is in this, and her best friend Eve. Eve is a whole different level of problematic in this, that like, they are very much like a university-aged version of the plastics from the movie Mean Girls from the early 2000s. Like, if everybody in that friend group was just Regina George, like, I understand that these two are friends, but how the hell they became friends in the first place, I do not know. Like, all they do is compliment each other and moan about everybody else. Like, oh, they bully Wei like something chronic, and you will wait for the moment that these two actually get what they deserve. And Eve is probably the bigger reason as to why Wei starts to spiral compared to Angela. The fact that it's not even the girl that she has to share a house with that causes the issue is wild.
Oh, the dumpster's here, it's here!
The body horror in this, parts of it got me good, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you watch this and you know in real life that would hurt. Like, if you've ever accidentally got a paper cut or a cardboard cut, or if you've been grating something when you're cooking and you've accidentally caught your finger, it's like, you know that that hurts. But the scene with the potato peeler in this, no. And that is just the beginning of the body horror in this movie. The opening scene is very CGI heavy with its body horror, which is not a bad thing, but the CGI is not as good as the practical effects in this. And the very end shots in this movie, with that beautifully twisted silicone prosthetic makeup, like, that is great. If you've seen the movie, or you plan on watching the movie, in the very, very last shot of this movie, watch for the fingers on this makeup, because they are moving independently, and it is such a beautiful addition. Like, that final shot is great. What I would say is, if you like body horror, but you don't like the full-on, like, squishy, oozy, gooey kind of body horror, maybe give this one a chance. If the substance was too far for you, but you want something that's kind of similar in its vibes and its transformation sequences, then maybe give this one a chance, because they do feel very similar in that aspect. In the end, I am actually going to give Grafted from 2025 a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Just because, as much as I like the body horror and the science part of this movie, I do think that adding in that one character has made a huge difference to the plot in this, because she really is such a filler character. Nothing against the actress who plays her, because she does a great job with the material. I just think that if you took the 10 minutes of plot that this character is in out of the movie, it really wouldn't make that much difference to the movie, but it would certainly make it a little bit more pacey, which, you know, isn't going to be a bad thing. Bonus points for body horror though, because science and body horror is never a bad thing. But my opinion isn't the only one that matters, which begs the question, should you personally watch Grafted from 2025? If you like your horror movies flavoured with body horror, medical science, rancid teachers, scientific proteges, nosy neighbours, tiny dogs, potato peelers, anything that you see listed right here, then you will probably like Grafted from 2025. So there you have it, my initial thoughts and my review for my first time watching Grafted from 2025. If you've also seen this movie, I would love to know what your thoughts and opinions are on it down in the comment section down below. And if you are interested in watching this one, like I always do, I will leave a link to justwatch.com in the description bar below the video, so you can find out where this one is streaming in your country. If you would like to know where else you can find me, I am also over on Instagram and Letterboxd at Hordes of Horror, where I talk about every single horror movie that I watch, not just the ones that I talk about here on YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, I'll be back on Friday with another solo movie review, and it could be one of two things at this point. It could either be Last Winter, which I featured in my winter movies that I wanted to prioritise watching, or it could be another 2025 release because so many things came out this past week, all on the same day, that I want to watch. So at the moment, it's a mystery, but if you check my community page on Thursday, you will find out from my sneak peek post what I have actually decided to watch. So until next time, bye.